Okay, ons leier is dood. Ons leier is dood. Groot. Wie is nou in beheer? Is die vraag wat ek vanaand vraag. Op hierdie baie donker nag. Dis 'n donker nag. Oh, sorry. I was just recording. Sorry, I was just preparing for my other show. I don't just do this one. Well, it's more of a meeting. I have a weekly meeting, and I was just preparing for my Broederbond meeting tonight. Well, it's not just Broederbond. It's kind of amalgamated. It's also got Ossewa Brandwacht and AWB. We had to amalgamate. These last 27 years, you think it's just been corruption and bad ANC government. These last 27 years, it's also taken a toll on other organizations. We've lost many members to the Freedom Front, AfriForum, and more recently the DA. Occasionally a member of Freedom Front, AfriForum will come to our meetings, but not in the official capacity of a Broederbond member, almost like a guest. Yeah, they just sign in as a guest. They don't have the card, the special access card, and that's how it works. So, FW de Klerk is dead. Can't avoid that. What? Mesothelioma. Can you believe it? Mesothelioma. Now, here is the irony. Mesothelioma is actually quite almost indirectly connected with the evils of apartheid. So many hundreds and thousands of South Africans, black South Africans, were forced to work dealing with asbestos and living next to asbestos mines, where the asbestos would be on big mine dumps, and the wind would blow the asbestos into these living areas. And many people have been suffering from mesothelioma, which is a cancer of the pleura of the lung, the lining, the connective tissue around the lungs, and it's almost always fatal. And there was actually just recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, a huge settlement for mesothelioma victims. So there we go. FW de Klerk died of mesothelioma. Who knows? Did he play on the mine dumps? Did he play on the mine dumps with this asbestos? You know, you get a lot of these white people. They'll say that I grew up on the farm and I played with the black children and there was no racism. Yeah. So maybe that's what killed FW de Klerk. He was a smoker. He smoked quite a bit. And look, I've already seen it happening. A lot of people are going to do articles, podcasts, analyses. I think we've settled on analyses of the legacy of FW de Klerk. And it's frustrating, it's disappointing that FW de Klerk never really came out with the truth. Was he scared of the truth? Was he in denial? Was he just embarrassed to tell the truth? Did he just also not want to face the consequences? If FW de Klerk came clean in 1996 at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and just spelt it out, what was he responsible for? I mean, somebody said that 3 or 4 days before he went to accept the Nobel Peace Prize with Nelson Mandela, he ordered the assassination of some PAC teenagers. So the ANC was unbanned, and the PAC and UDF and other anti-apartheid structures were unbanned. Was it the what was it, 11th of February, 11th of February, and then Nelson Mandela and other people were released. So apartheid and hit squads and whatever didn't just end on that day. While F.W. de Klerk and Rolf Meyer and all of them were sitting down at the table with Joe Slovo and Nelson Mandela and Cyril Ramaphosa, etc., there were hit squads going on. There was still evil apartheid structures at play. Or the so-called third force, and so now we'll never know. We'll never know. We'll never know the truth. We'll never know the truth. Can we rely, maybe Iqbal Surf and his twin Pitram Pedi? I heard that they're busy writing a story now as we speak. As we speak. What do you think they're going to come up with? I had this vision, the story that I was painting this picture in my mind. What are they going to come up with? Do you think F.W. de Klerk is actually, maybe he didn't die? Maybe it's just the body double they took away in the hearse? He could have he could have week 44 at the Beacon Isle timeshare with P.W. Botha. He's also still alive. They don't leave the area around the pool. They like the view. They never go to the beach. Rolf Meyer pays the levy, the annual levy. Oy, what will go on? So there's no doubt that there's the unknown or the untold truth. What F.W. de Klerk said he never spoke about. And then I read a tweet. Tony Leon said something. Listen to this. You see, I can't. Farewell, F.W. de Klerk. Like Mikhail Gorbachev, he reformed the system he inherited in 1990. And if he had not relinquished power in 1994, likely South Africa would be Syria or Venezuela today. Tot sense. He inherited a system in 1990, according to Tony Leon. That's sure. Do people just make up their own history? Do people just? It's called revisionist history. Tony Leon, you can't just make up your own stuff. If F.W. de Klerk, I can't believe I have to say this. It's like redundant. He was part of the apartheid structure. He was in cabinet. He was part of the government from probably the 70s or the late 70s. What do you mean he inherited a system? He was part of the system. Tony Leon, I don't understand this. He's supposed to be an intelligent person. There'll be an advert. I'll see an advert on Facebook or whatever. Tony Leon is speaking at this at the Houghton Country Club on Thursday evening, 70 Rand a head. Tea will be served with some refreshments. You have to book straight away. It'll be packed. Tony Leon. Huh? He's got this like cult following. People think, oh my God. But yes, he's well revered, highly educated. He's a lawyer. But come on, you can't just. Where is the simple logic, man? Logic and honesty. Is he a lack of brains? I don't know. But where did we go wrong? Maybe we are to blame. Maybe South Africa, everyone is to blame. Maybe Nelson Mandela is to blame for this bull, this insanity, this misguided perception of history. I mean, think about it. It's ludicrous. Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk both got the Nobel Peace Prize back, was it 1993? They both got the Nobel Peace Prize. Nelson, I mean, it's ludicrous. Nelson Mandela should have just refused to accept the prize. You go to Sweden yourself. Okay, bad. I shouldn't have done that. That's a bad voice. Come, Mr. Mandela. Come with me. No. It's embarrassing. So I think we created the situation. This bending over backwards. I think South Africans are yes, there has to be some forgiveness. There has to be some reconciliation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying while Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu was released from Robben Island a few months before Nelson Mandela, actually. So just Nelson Mandela and Govan Mbeki, they're in their speedboat. They're in a nice speedboat zooming from Robben Island towards Cape Town. They've been released. I don't think they got on a helicopter or a plane. I think they went on a nice speedboat. They took the engine from an Impala, you put it into, and there's Rolf Meyer, Magnus Malan, Adrian Vlok, F.W. de Klerk. They're rowing the boat. And while they're rowing the boat, Robben Island warders are busy urinating on them. That's what happened. If you read Nelson Mandela's book, Long Walk to Freedom, while they were in the boat going towards Robben Island, some of the guards, or one of the guards, was actually urinated on them. True story. So I'm not saying that the roles must be reversed and Adrian Vlok and Magnus Malan should have been rowing their boat towards Robben Island, do a prisoner exchange. I can just imagine Adrian Vlok moaning to Magnus Malan, "You're not rowing hard enough!" And then F.W. de Klerk, he's not even rowing because he was, he was the president. Can you imagine? He would have been in charge. F.W. de Klerk would have been in charge of, he would have been in charge of his cell block, the leader of the gang. What would the gang have been called? Would they have got tattoos? I think the gang would have been called something like, let's think of something creative. The National Party. So the National Party gang there on Robben Island. Would there have been enough sales? Yeah, they could have shared. Necessarily squashed them in a bit. Can you have imagined, eh? All those Andries Strinig would have shared a cell with Magnus Malan, maybe. That could have been something, eh? But then maybe, look, would the country have collapsed? Would we have blown up into civil war? Yes, sadly, yes. Because back, the whites still were in charge of the military and the police, and they wouldn't look. I was just fantasizing for a moment, okay? So that's the situation we've created. I don't think white people in South Africa, whether you like, white South Africans are living in South Africa by the grace of black people. I think it's amazing how black people are so reconciliatory. It just blows the mind. And most white people don't realize that. They don't realize that. I mean, F.W. de Klerk, he was living in Fresnay, for crying in a bucket. Fresnay. He was probably getting a presidential, what's it called? Pension every month. He was probably getting 100,000 rand a month pension, maybe more. Hey? He's widow now. She'll get the pension. Well, maybe she won't. Bruh. Medical aid for crying in a bucket. There's something called the KUWTK Klerk Foundation. Huh? This is a foundation that espouses democracy and constitutionality and human rights, and this is a constitution. Huh? So you got the Nelson Mandela Foundation, fair enough, makes sense. Then you got the KUWTK Klerk Foundation. It's kind of like, hey, Mr. Mandela had a foundation. I wanted to have a foundation as well. Come off it. Oh. And then I saw a clip of the last video that KUWTK Klerk produced, and he says he's worried about our constitution. He's worried about our constitution. Huh? That's like Adolf Hitler saying he's worried about the safety of Israelis. I tell you, it's bizarre. Do you not see the incongruency, the weirdness that is going on at the moment, that has been created? But you know what? Let's not complain. You know, we've had since 1994 to get to the truth, to sort out what has not been said. KUWTK Klerk had 27 years. Nobody was knocking on his door saying, Mr. de Klerk, you need to tell the truth. And they just let him. Same story with KUWTK. And then we're just going to wait for all these people to die in peace, in wonderful peace, unlike the people they murdered. Tell you, I don't know how some black South Africans can tolerate this. It's of course, Senati Biko said something. It's like, whew. Anyway, it's quite something. It's quite something. Whew. We forget. We move on. That's just crazy. So what have we forgotten about this? Just this year, what have we forgotten about? Okay, so we Afghanistan, forgot about it. Gareth Cliff, forgot about that. Quentin de Kock, forgotten about it. The Moti brothers. So the Moti brothers were kidnapped. They're back. Oh, they're back. They were kidnapped. Who cares who kidnapped them? Oh, so here they were kidnapped. Well, it doesn't make any sense at all. What happened to them? What did they do for 3 weeks? What did they eat? Were they in the same clothes? Did they bath? Did they shower? What did they drink? How did they survive? What were their surroundings? Let's just forget about it. And our KUWTK Klerk has died. I mean, he had a book. I mean, he could have written a book. I think he did write a book, but it's probably crap. It's in the fiction section of exclusive books, next to Iqbal Surf and Peter Mpedi's books. If they read, do they also write books? Everyone writes books these days, eh? Everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's should I write a book? Probably not. Probably no. Not a good idea. Damon Kalvari Foundation. Hey, that rings a bell. The Damon Kalvari Foundation. For children, to give children hope. No. To discourage children and accept that you're limited. No. Just the Damon Kalvari Foundation. And we can decide afterwards what to actually do with the foundation. It could be anything. It could be cooking classes, God knows what. Anyway. Let's hope there's more interesting things that happen next week that we'll forget soon. But that's just the way we forget. We move on. But spend the rest of today and this weekend reading all the articles and the analysis and the insights into KUWTK Klerk. all the things that I didn't think of, obviously. So it's going to, you can just, look, there's rugby as well. Big rugby tomorrow. This is not a sports show, I know, but big rugby, big rugby. 3 o'clock, from 3 o'clock, please just put the kids on a video game or tuck them away somewhere, I don't know. Springboks versus Scotland, then I can't remember who's playing who. The All Blacks are playing somebody, maybe Ireland, and the Wallabies are playing somebody else. England, maybe. Can't remember, but it's going to be great. Really excited.